All right, so this is going to be the first in my series of videos on automotive electricity. So what is electricity? Why do we study it? Well, the more we understand about electricity, the more easy it becomes for us to diagnose problems with electrical circuits. So what is it? Well, first, it's a form of energy. So as with any energy, we cannot create nor destroy energy. We can only convert it from one form to another. So we can convert sunlight into electricity using solar panels. We can convert mechanical motion into electrical energy by using a generator. And then we can convert electrical energy into light energy that we see from our light bulbs, heat energy that we see in things like hair dryers and our heaters for our houses. We can convert it back into mechanical motion using things like motors. Okay. All right, so second, electricity is the movement of electrons from one atom to another. So what is an electron? Electrons are those tiny negatively charged pieces that orbit the center of the nucleus. Every material that we know can be broken down into its most simple properties in an atom and still retain all the properties of that material that we started with. So in our atom, we have a nucleus, which houses protons and electrons. Protons are positively charged. Neutrons are neutrally charged, no charge. Electrons are negatively charged, and they're going to be orbiting this. So when we can get those electrons to move, then we can have current flow. So the electrons are going to move from one atom to the next. Once we get these electrons moving, then we have what we call current flow. So what's going to make it move? Well, electricity and the movement of electrons can be compared to how magnets are going to behave. We've all played with magnets, and we know that if we take magnets and we stick them together, they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to stick together or they're going to repel each other. And that has to do with the poles on the magnet. So if the magnetic poles are lined up where we put North Pole to North Pole or South Pole to South Pole, they will push each other apart. If we put the two unlike poles together, the North Pole against the South Pole, then our magnets are going to stick together. Well, electrons have a negative charge, and like charges are going to try to repel one another. So those negative charges are going to try to get away from the other negative charges, and they're going to move towards a positive charge. And if you've ever looked at your batteries, we know that we have a positive end of the battery and a negative end of the battery. So the electrons are going to move from one end of that battery to the other. So first we have to have an excess charge of electrons, and that's where our battery or our storage device comes in. Okay. Once we complete a circuit, we hook some wires and a load to that battery, then we can have the flow of electricity, and we can have a change of energy in that circuit, just like this one you have here in front of me, where I've got just a power supply. I've got a couple of wires. Let's get these extra ones out of the way there. I've got a couple of wires, and I've got a light bulb. And when I turn the switch on, I have current flow, and my electrical energy is being turned into light energy. It's also being turned into heat energy. That's going to get pretty warm pretty quick. So electricity is the movement of atoms, or movement of electrons from one atom to another. Okay? We can use electrical energy to create other forms of energy, or to transfer them into other forms of energy. I already said in this video, we don't create energy, we can only transfer it from one form to another. And the study of electricity is going to help us understand how to diagnose electrical circuits when something goes wrong. So I've got a whole series of videos that are going to be coming up about electricity, especially for automotive. We're going to be working with DC current rather than AC current. So my next video will be on units of electricity, voltage, amperage, and resistance, and how they operate together. Thanks for watching.